Rhetoric Across the Curriculum is a cross-curricular program at Quest that engages students with rhetorical opportunities throughout their degree and emphasizes communication within academia and beyond. Throughout the foundation and concentration program, you'll develop your rhetorical skills across disciplines, genres, and media. The RAC committee has identified 6 broad rhetoric goals that all Quest students should develop by graduation. Each goal encompasses measurable learning outcomes. The learning outcomes map back to various learning opportunities in every class. These learning opportunities include, but aren't limited to, assignments, projects, breakout activities, and discussions, both inside and outside the classroom. Particular assignments have been purposely created to link to specific learning outcomes, but any learning experience you have that contributes to your progress towards a learning outcome also counts. The RAC program also encourages continuous reflective adjustment at all stages of your degree. Faculty and students will engage in the process of reflective adjustment together to further your learning and the RAC program. The process of reflective adjustment is similar to assessment, but we'll get into that later. Post-secondary schools across the world are guided by their identified learning outcomes, as these learning outcomes are recognized as essential to lesson, course, and program planning. But how do educators know that students are actually graduating with the identified learning outcomes? That's where assessment comes in. Assessment to students usually equals grades. Although student assessment is one form of assessment, assessment also exists on a larger scale, including institutional, program, and course-level assessment. Today we're talking about program-level assessment. This type of assessment has nothing to do with your grade. We chose to define assessment as: assessment is a process in which rich, usable, credible feedback from an act of teaching or curriculum comes to be reflected upon by an academic community and then is acted on by that community, a department or college, within its commitment to get smarter and better at what it does. This definition is helpful because it highlights 3 crucial aspects to all assessment: feedback, reflection, and action. At this point, you may be overwhelmed. Maybe you have never heard of the RAC learning outcomes, or maybe you're wondering, wait, how are they even assessed? Well, your confusion here is totally justified. You didn't miss anything unless you read the entire academic calendar. It turns out learning outcomes and program assessment are usually behind the scenes, happening without the knowledge of students. In traditional program assessment practice, you hand in assignments, and unbeknown to you, program assessment questions are embedded within. After the class is over and your grade is given, assignments are anonymized and become artifacts. Faculty pore over artifacts, trying to gauge if students met the learning outcomes. In the past decade, conversations regarding concerns have been raised as to the effectiveness of traditional program assessment methods. Conversation among scholars problematize the small data sets, decontextualize data, and assumptions that are made throughout the process. Bad assessment data breaks the cycle of assessment, and then we just get stuck. We have no way to implement intervention effectively. The RAC Reflective Survey Initiative is a program-level assessment tool. Instead of keeping learning outcomes and program assessment a secret, we want you to help by providing assessment data that is contextualized, authentic, and useful. Because program assessment takes time, we only assess a few outcomes a year. At the end of your rhetoric block, you'll complete a survey which gives you the opportunity to reflect on your recent learning. After thinking about assignments, discussions, and activities that supported the various learning outcomes, you'll be asked if you met a given learning outcome. If you did, you'll provide some evidence before providing a brief reflection. Don't worry, this will make a lot more sense once you see the survey. The survey is designed to help you evaluate your own progress in the rhetoric program and to help us evaluate the rhetoric program as a whole. The skills of self-reflection and self-assessment are not usually explicitly taught in classes, but are recognized to be important to university success. The RAC survey is designed to guide you through an evidence-based reflective process that gives you time to think about the intended learning outcomes, your experience in class, and your mastery of those learning outcomes. So when done thoughtfully, the process of completing the survey benefits you individually, benefits other students who come after you, and benefits Quest. Individually, you practice the skills of evidence-based reflection and determine your progress through the program. Students after you benefit from better classes which have been intentionally improved based on the good assessment data you provide. Quest benefits because they can use assessment data in program review and hold themselves accountable to students and their communities.